Hello everyone, watch this review here with a look at a very special monster presented for your viewing pleasure. Here is the Sci-Fi Revoltech, and the pronunciation of this actually varies quite a bit depending on where you see it, but on the one that I'm currently watching for the older series from the 60s version of Gamera, it's pronounced Gaos. Alternatively, I think I've heard it pronounced Gyaos, Gyaos, and all sorts of other crazy stuff just because the spelling also varies. Generally, it's G-Y-A-O than the S, but in this other version for the title card it was just G-A-O-S. So, I mean, it's kind of nutty, but picked this one up during a box, it's called a Dents and Something sale. Following the earthquake/tsunami that hit Japan earlier the year. I imagine some of you still remember that. We've actually had so many natural disasters since then that's kind of begun to pop from everybody's mind, between the earthquakes and the Americas to hurricanes and everything else, especially the stuff that does strike a bit closer to home. Oh, by the way, I'm currently watching the Mystery Science Theater 3000 takes on the earlier films, and in it, throughout the thing, the MS3K crew pronounces it Gaos. So that's one other possible interpretation, if you will. I don't think I much prefer that one, though. But here are some clips. This is the look for the character based on the Gamera Defender of the Universe, which was the first the Gamera films that I actually saw, going back and watching the 60s series on Netflix right now. The Mystery Science Theater versions, mind you, because the normal versions aren't available on streaming, but this box is very cool. It has this little flip open. As you can see, you can get a look at the figure, although I don't think I'll probably ever put him back in the box, so I'm not sure if I'll save the packaging or not, but all the same, the presentation is just really top-notch. Of course, it even has that little wraparound thing that the other packs usually do. Other figures in the line include Gamera himself, who I probably will pick up at some point, and then, the Blade Legger from Zoids, which is also a really cool figure. Hold on a second and I'll get him out of pack. As you can see, the box damage didn't really affect the figure, it just dented the little plastic for the blister here. As with most Revoltechs, or all of them probably, he does come with a stand and a bunch of other stuff. However, just not a ton of accessories besides. You do get a smaller version of a Gaos right here, because in this version of the movie, the take on the character is quite a bit different. Originally, he was just sort of a generic monster that got awoken or something. The new continuity, they were created by this advanced civilization or something and used to sort of eat up pollution. Then they went crazy and stuff and started eating people instead, and then they created the Gameras to destroy these things. Then, eventually the civilization vanished, but these things woke up and there's one Gamera left to fight them. But with enough pollution or whatever, these things go from a smaller size to a much larger one. One more capable of fighting and putting up a struggle with Gamera. Hold on a second and I'll get him assembled real quick. Quick run through of the accessories. Most of these kind of combine to different parts. This thing here attaches to the base thing, or the stand. You actually use this and then pull out the Revoltech joint on, say, like the tail. And then this gets popped in between. This gets popped into here, or back into here. I have to actually mess around with it a bit, but this is actually how the flight thing works. I probably tried sticking it backwards though. So it's kind of a neat touch. I guess it does sort of beat putting like a peg hole in his back or something. The other accessories are this little case thing, the standard coin, the mini one, this little crystal clear through base thingy that, it's actually another piece to it that I think I dropped or something, but it's a little, rod or something that sticks into the stomach here, and then, looks like it's flying. Yeah, I'm not being really articulate there. And then you also get the name placard here, which should be great if I knew how to read Japanese, but I do know that this is supposed to be Gaos or Gyaos or whatever. Just probably not Gaos. Hold on a second, I'll get the thing fixed. Okay, so the illustration really isn't all that clear. I mean, at first I thought this was meant for the tail, then I was thinking maybe it actually refers to the wing. Finally I ended up just pegging it around his leg. Unfortunately, the base just isn't enough to sort of balance the weight, or maybe just because the placement doesn't work, but it sort of tips over kind of easily, which is kind of a nuisance. Yeah, he's kind of flying. Run away! Run far, far away. Getting the stand out of there, let's just take a closer look at the figure itself. Now, the sort of trademark of the Revoltech figure is the fact that it uses their sort of patented revolver joints, which they call Revoltechs. I don't know if it's actually patented or what, but you'll notice the little balls at various points, and they have some range of motion and are removable and everything. Fortunately, if you remove them and put them back on over time, the thing will wear, and you actually do need to get replacements, which the company does sell. But other than that, the ball placement actually works a lot better on your monster characters and robots, because they don't stick out as much as some of the human ones. That said, I'm not really liking the appearance of this one too much. I mean, from the promo pics, he actually looked pretty cool, but the fact that you have like these completely fused wings and everything is something of a downer. I would have preferred having the ability to kind of like spread out the wings to the length that I'd liked and all that. But hey, what can you do? I mean, if you remember the DC Universe Classics or DC Superheroes Man-Bat, where it kind of had different segments and places, I mean, that's more what I would have liked to see. In this case, you do kind of get a little bit of the motion just because the wings themselves are made from a soft rubbery plastic, but I mean, it's just not the same thing. I mean, sure, kind of works, but I just really would have preferred if they'd all been separate segments and stuff. Although, again, you do kind of get the motion. Now, besides the wings being a soft rubbery plastic and stuff, the rest of the figure does have an okay amount of posability. Well, again, because you have all those joints and stuff. A quick run through of articulation. We have a opening and closing mouth. Unfortunately, they decided not to include any energy projectiles. On the originally shot lasers, I can't remember what he did in Gamera, Defender of the, was it Defender of the Universe or Defender of the Earth? Or Guardian of the Universe, Guardian of the Earth. I don't even remember at this point. But, you get a fair range of motion here at the neck, which is really cool. The lower chin portion here is soft rubbery plastic, covers the joint well, in addition to, sort of lending itself to the look when you move the head. The neck, again, has a somewhat forward motion, some back, then a little range of rotation. Thankfully, you don't see the joint most of the time, because, these joints just kind of annoy me when you're just looking at them. Arm, then again, you have the ball joint here, so it means it can go out. It goes out in this direction, forward this direction, but no up, down. The torso also has a joint. Of course, like other ones, if you pull up too far, it does kind of expose and stuff. The hip, you will notice this one does look a bit more concealed just because it's sort of sunk in. Another one here at the knee. Of course, this one's not even painted or anything. Here at the, I guess sort of the mid-ankle, you have another joint. But surprisingly, it's not as free-flowing as the other ones. It looks more just like a pin joint. And then you have a more full range of rotation and stuff with a normal joint down here at the foot/toe. So, I mean, although you do kind of get the, pretty okay range of motion stuff, and who can forget that the tail goes up and down and also sinks in and can pull out a little bit. In addition to being able to wag its tail when it's happy, sad, or I don't know why they wag their tails. Color-wise, it's kind of, sort of a mixed bag. I mean, I wouldn't say that the color is spectacular or anything, but it does kind of capture the textures kind of well. It's a generous mix of oranges and deeper hues in places. Looks better for the body portions. For the wings, it just looks kind of hokey, especially where you just have this crappy patterning. Yeah, kind of phoned it in there. All in all, as far as monsters go, I guess it's kind of a so-so looking one. I mean, granted, there wasn't like a ton to the character originally, but I still feel that they could have done something a little bit better with the rendition here. I was originally planning on picking up like several of these, but I think I'll probably just stick with one at this point. And I'll likely buy the Gamera, who of course is the big draw. The other thing you have to remember is that Bandai will be putting out their D-Monster arts or something, then Gamera might be included in that line if you are looking to pick up Gamera. I doubt the Gyaos or Gyaos will ever be produced in something like that though, so this might be your only chance to pick up a really articulate one. I'm not sure how much luck you might have otherwise and what other ones they may have produced though. But, it does what it does okay, or fairly well, and you do get the neck up head motion for flight pretty okay. I'm just sort of disappointed by the implementation of the stand and the fact that I can't really seem to get the flight portion to really work quite the way I want it to. I mean, otherwise, pretty solid figure. Again, these are kind of smaller. It's like a 5-inch scale, so while it kind of looks big and everything right there, if you pull in, say, a a DC Infinite Hero, I mean, it's just slightly larger than Batman here. It's got like a good 2 heads on him. Then, of course, it's just downright tiny when compared to like some of your bigger lines. Although, for the purposes of display, monsters kind of fit into most scales. But yeah, this has been a look at the Revoltech Gaos, however you may pronounce it. A monster by any other name still destroys Tokyo as well. And yes, it's almost always Tokyo. Sort of like in the US, New York's always one that seems to get attacked by King Kong, by the Cloverfield monster and all that. That's a complete tangent. Till next time, folks. And I figured I'd just quickly show him with my giant Revoltech because, giant robots and giant monsters kind of go hand in hand. So, I mean, yeah, that kind of would look neat in display, especially when you have stuff of this scale. It is just so easy to sort of make, I guess you might call them dioramas, but, displays and everything, and just making everything look giant-sized.